All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. Terrorists raid Patigi community in Kwara, kill police operative, vigilante members. Now, this morning I was telling you what happened in another community in Kwara State, where soldiers told members of that community to return after they had fled their community. Soldiers told them to return, that they are taking care of the terrorists. But as soon as they returned, before they could even settle down, terrorists came there and wreaked havoc, killing 2 chiefs, and the other villagers fled. This one is happening again in Patigi. See, they have inundated Kwara State. Terrorists. And you know that Kwara State it borders like 4 southwest states. So this is how serious the situation is, and some people have the effrontery to pretend as if we don't need help to take care of these. I hope we don't come to a point where this situation will no longer be redeemable. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that one coming out of the National Conscience Party, a criticism of the Tinubu administration that I don't think is necessary. And next is that one coming out of Kebbi State, another repeat of the Chibok girl saga with Boko Haram. Boko Haram stormed a girls' school in Kebbi State and they abducted an uncountable number of female students. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. This is the funniest video you would see probably this month. Watch the hypocrisy in this video.
The national spotlight turned to the judiciary on Monday as President Bola Tinubu arrived at the National Judicial Institute, stepping into a gathering of Nigeria's most senior judges, a forum many describe as a compass for the nation's justice sector. Held every 2 years, the All Nigerian Judges Conference provides a moment of reflection for the courts, especially at a time when public trust in the justice system has become a defining national conversation. For President Tinubu, the message was clear. The judiciary must remain the stabilizing force of Nigeria's democracy. But to do so, justice must be swift, transparent, and completely insulated from corruption.
We must ensure that our judges are not only equipped to interpret the law in contemporary times, but also empowered to shape it in accordance with constitutional values. However, let us be clear, no amount of reform can succeed if integrity is compromised. Justice must never be for sale. The bench must never become a sanctuary for compromise. Corruption in any form or any arm of government weakens the nation, but corruption in judiciary destroys it to the core.
He said the National Judicial Institute will continue to receive the backing needed to strengthen training and professional development, ensuring judicial officers are better equipped to deliver justice in a rapidly evolving legal environment. Declaring the conference open, he charged judges to tackle case backlogs, deepen accountability, and make justice accessible to the poor and the vulnerable, those for whom the courts must remain the last hope.
You saw that. Now, I had a good laugh watching this video, and I shared it because I know some people will actually find it funny, especially when it got to the point that he started coughing. You know, he lied so much that even the inner workings of his body could not take the lies again, and then he began coughing. Maybe he even wanted to laugh at that point because the lies were just too much. Imagine Tinubu telling the judiciary that justice is not for sale, that unless there is integrity within the justice system, there is no reform that can work. What a shame. The Nigerian judiciary has already been shamed all around the world. When Donald Trump said he was going to sanction Nigerian judges, that they were going to place heavy sanctions on them for changing judgments. What do you think? Where do you think that came from? Do you think he was just bringing all that up from the top of his head? No, it is because they have seen what the judiciary is. When they say that Nigeria is now a disgraced country, do you think they were talking about corruption within the executives alone? No, they were talking about corruption within the three arms of government. The constitution that you are talking about has already been rubbished by the judiciary. A judiciary that could not translate 36 states and FCT. The judiciary said they could not translate it because you guys had bought them over. Now you are standing there to say that justice should not be for sale. This is drama taken too far. At this point, I think things like this should be avoided, because when Tinubu stands on a pulpit and he speaks like that, he actually reminds the entire country and the entire world of the disgrace in the Nigerian judiciary. So it is better you just avoid that kind of gathering altogether, because it is one thing to do the wrong things in your country, but it is an entirely different thing to make a mockery of the wrong that you have done. And it is clear that nobody demarcates the nation Nigeria more than the APC and its agents. And I'm afraid things can only get worse except these guys are kicked out of power. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that one coming from the National Conscience Party, a criticism of the Tinubu administration that I don't think is necessary at this point. And next is that big one coming out of Kebbi State, a repeat of the Chibok girls episode. Terrorists stormed an only girls' school in Kebbi State and abducted hundreds of female students. Let's start by taking that update from the National Conscience Party. Look at how the papers reported it. Now, I am just going to take the headline. National Conscience Party warns Nigerians against re-electing Tinubu, asks citizens to wake up. Now, anybody that is still coming out to say something like this, just keep quiet. It is better to just keep quiet other than to come out and give this kind of criticism, because you are pretending as if you don't know the situation within the electoral system. First of all, you said Nigerians should not re-elect Tinubu. I get it. I know there were few people who gave him votes, even though he didn't get the popular votes. I know there were few people who gave him votes and they rode on that to do what they did, but that is not what you should refer to at this moment. Saying that Nigerians should not re-elect him, you are talking as if the power lies with the people when it comes to election at the polls, when you know fully well that no matter what the people vote under this current electoral system, the real results can never be announced. What you should be talking about as a political party is transparent elections. Every effort should be geared towards how we can have transparent elections, and you and I know that election can never be transparent unless the results are transferred from polling units to the IREV. That is the only way we can have a transparent process. Anybody within the opposition that is coming out to say anything less is either a noisemaker or just an accomplice of the APC. Even the fraudulent man Mahmoud Yakubu himself said the only way they could restore credibility to the electoral process was to transfer election results from polling unit to the IREV. That was why he began talking about the transfer of election results. And as soon as we reverted to that old method and we didn't transfer results, it was clear that elections had lost credibility. As simple as that. So if we are going into 2027 still telling Nigerians not to do this and that, then we are joking. We can never get the APC out of power unless results are either transferred from polling unit to the IREV, or everybody comes together to begin a revolution that votes must count. For me, I think the former is easier. Because if we wait for the latter, which should take place on election day, we might be heavily disappointed. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that update from Kebbi State began making the rounds. Look at how the papers reported it. Breaking: Terrorists attack Kebbi Girls Secondary School, abduct several students, kill staff member. Terrorists in the early hours of Monday stormed the Maga Comprehensive Girls Secondary School in Kebbi State, abducting an unspecified number of female students and killing at least one staff member. Wow. A school guard was also injured during the attack, which occurred around 5:52 a.m. The attackers invaded the school compound while the students were preparing for morning routines, launching their assault with sporadic gunfire. Home angle reports. Reporters also gathered that the gunmen not only abducted several female students but also left a trail of fear and chaos in their wake. However, residents noted that the terrorists have not gone far and are urging federal and state government to take urgent action to rescue the girls. Sahara reporters earlier reported that terrorists launched a deadly attack on Rogun village in Pada district of Patiki local government area, Kwara State, killing 2 security operatives. Wow. And as soon as news of this tragedy broke loose all over social media, thousands of Nigerians came together and began to call on Donald Trump to come to our aid. Now, it's been a long time since Trump said he was going to come to Nigeria, but since there is no place to run to, it is clear that the security forces of this country, even though they have the desire to take out these terrorists, they can no longer do it because of the compromise coming from the All Progressive Congress. So you cannot blame Nigerians that began to call on Donald Trump as soon as the updates broke out. Destiny here says, President of the United States, at real Donald Trump, at Donald Trump, please, sir, you need to act fast because Nigeria is going down every day. Imagine more than 100 people were kidnapped in a school. Please, act fast. We need your help. And this tweet here by Witty Nigerian says, at official bat at Army headquarters, at real Donald Trump. This happened just this morning. If the Nigerian military is as coordinated and as capable as the presidency claims, these girls should be rescued immediately by them, as these girls can't be far. We are waiting. I am telling you, the only way, if you see that those girls are rescued, then just know that it was the government that planned it. Because if it was these terrorists that came to that place on their own, they will be so prepared that by now they will be long gone. And who even says that the government is interested in stopping them? And Captain Raz here says, POTUS, President of the United States, I hope you are saying this, sir. My boys are on ground and ready to be trained and equipped to fight this evil. Mobilize us if you won't come. Wow. And this tweet here says, at real Donald Trump, at Senator Ted Cruz, at Mike Arnold Truth, at POTUS, that is President of the United States. This is a current and breaking news in Nigeria today. Please, we need urgent assistance. Sir, wow, this is really heartbreaking. And somebody posted this video of when Tinubu was doing protest, bring back our girls. He said Tinubu is reaping the evil he sowed against Jonathan 1,000,000 times more already. Indeed, God is just God. This is funny because you think Tinubu is the one reaping the evil. How is he the one reaping the evil? He doesn't even care about the girls that have been abducted. And Oluwajuwonlo here says, Trump self, they make mouth for us. Help wipe out these evil people. We don't want this news again in Nigeria. Oluwajuwonlo is tired of the fact that Trump has not yet intervened. It is really troubling. And Toby Akimbo here says, do we still have army in this country? Are we still a sovereign nation? Or until Trump makes another post, that is it? Is it until Trump makes another post before the army will be running helter-skelter and claiming that they took out terrorists? And Felix here says, shout out to Tinubu, master of economic hardship and security blackouts. Lakurawa just hit Kebbi school again. Kids fleeing for their lives while you are busy reforming away our safety. Bandits got more hope than Nigerians do. Fix these or step aside. Unfortunately, the man is never going to step aside until Nigerians step up to push him aside. And this tweet here says, yet we are resisting help from those who are competent enough to remove this shame and embarrassment the Nigerian government has brought upon this nation. That is Abeli Olumide speaking there. He said, how can we be resisting help from Donald Trump and the United States government? How can we even open mouth to say we are a sovereign state and we don't need help with all this going on? I am telling you what that leader of Ekwa Church in Nigeria said. He said, anybody who opens mouth to say Nigeria does not need external intervention, he said that person is clearly one of the terrorists. And I believe strongly that that is true, because how can you not be moved by all this when it is clear that we will not be able to handle this on our own? First of all, the political will to even handle it is not available. So are you saying that as a sovereign state, if the people with power are willing to see Nigerians die, we should just allow things to go down like that? I don't think it should be that way, because if we don't receive help from external forces with the APC, this situation will only get worse until this country sinks completely. Anyway, make I leave am here. Make I still enter town, make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una na I dey here. So don't go away, don't go away.